the big boys, the bullion banks and the commercial banks run the market. That's a fact. I mean, I've been probably through more mints than anybody that's not in the minting business, right? Because I cover the whole gamut. I've been in private mints, I've been in government mints, and I know the process very well. Bar situation is, the facts are very clear what's happened during this recent surge in silver demand. And one is that the SLV and the SIVR have changed their prospectus. And the prospectus, if you read the SLV, and I highlighted some of it in the latest mortgage report, and the highlights are basically they have no liability. JP Morgan as the custodian is the custodian. Their responsibility is that they can have a sub-custodian and a authorized participant, and they can take the silver in and out and this and that, and they can account for the bars, but they can't guarantee the quality of the bars. And they can't guarantee in the event of XYZ and you name it. We are at a point where there are premiums on silver bars. What does that mean? I want to be very specific. The silver market revolves around 1,000 ounce commercial bars. There's maybe one or two 1,000 ounce bars, meaning they're rough pours, roughly 1,000 ounces. They're stamped and hallmarked. The stamp shows in metal, pounded in, what the exact weight is. So it could be like 997.2 troy ounces, 999 fine, coming from the Perth Mint. And that would be a commercial bar. That's what determines the silver price. That doesn't determine the silver kangaroo price or a 100 ounce bar price. Now, it revolves off of that, and there's a premium to produce a 100 ounce bar, which is, roughly a commercial bar produces 10 of those. The point I'm making is that when you have the bare bones essence of the market calling for a premium, there's a reason for that. Now, we could bat back and forth several ideas of what the reason is. I'm interested in that, but I don't really want to discuss it. I want to stick to the fact. Something's got to give, or you got to pay more for a commercial bar, and that's a fact. Part number two is what is going on with this instantaneous inventory of bar numbers when we're talking trades that are like 110 million ounces of fine silver in a matter of 4 trading days. And instantly, these new sub-custodians happen to have all the bar numbers. Well, I will go out on a limb here and say, look, the inventory's there. It's just how many times is that inventory counted? And if you read the prospectus, and the sub-custodian isn't really responsible for anything, but they can make a bookkeeping entry. And I'm not saying they're doing this. I'm making a conjecture here, but I'm suggesting it's possible that they're making a bookkeeping entry to keep the books square so that when the audit is done, they can play, let's say, the 3-card Monte and lift up the hat, and there's the P, and put the hat down and move the P to the other hat and open up that hat, and the P's still over there. I mean, is that what's really going on? I don't know. What I do know is I've never seen a premium on commercial bars this happen. And the other part is everybody's got a reason why they can't produce the amount of silver. And I buy into that somewhat. When you have a demand for retail product that's, let's say, beyond what's been in the past, and maybe the U.S. Mint is wound down and they're doing this security feature and all that, it kind of makes sense. But what makes more sense, I think, Daryl, is what you suggested, is that, and they get first priority. And the Perth Mint, when they're called up by, let's say, someone of that kind of power, they not only say, yes, sir, they say, how many bags full? So you as a retail investor would probably go to the back of the line. I am concerned that we are at a point, and this is a gut feeling and some fact. I try to give as much fact as I can to back up my premise, but we may be at that big short moment where everyone's pretending that it's okay and the market's gone from that $30 overnight price. By the way, I bought it that time. I was pretty certain at that point the squeeze was on. And I think it was a matter of just a few days later, we were down in the 28 and then 27, and we've been down in the 25 handle high, like 25.80 or whatever. position I thought was actually what I did was I swapped some palladium that I had bought at 600, and I offed it at about the $2,200 level. And I moved those funds into the silver market because when we got that somewhat of a squeeze going, I was thinking I was making a good trade, and I'm yet to determine, I still think I'm doing okay. But my friend called me up and he said, David, this thing's going kind of crazy in the what we call the aftermarket. Do you still want that, for me, a pretty large order? And I said, no. I said, I'll make it a limit order. He says, okay. I said 30. As long as I can buy it under 30, I'll buy it. And he filled me, I forget the exact price, $28.80 or something. And that is not a bad fill or anything. And as you said, one side does bars, one side does coins. Some places it's only making, basically silver rounds, but most do both. And it's really not a good excuse. As far as the bar situation is, the facts are very clear what's happened during this recent surge in silver demand. And especially, and I don't want to badmouth any mint, okay? I mean, like I said, I've been to several of them. I've never been to the Perth Mint, but I had I'll say client that had a rather significant holding at the Perth Mint years ago, fully paid for, allocated, not unallocated, and it took much longer than it should have to get delivered. And it wasn't like he owed on it. It wasn't like it was, I have a debit or a balance due. It was paid for. All he was paying was storage fees that weren't in arrears or anything. He just said, ship it. Well, it's going to cost you to ship it. I know. I'll pay the shipping. Send it. And, phone call after phone call. I will pay the shipping. Send it. Finally got his medal. And that was back when things were not nearly as tight as they are right now. So I hope I didn't overtalk it, that they can produce the silver if required and all this stuff. So basically, and I'm not exaggerating, I'm not using the exact wording. I have it in the report. If you're interested, don't buy the report. I'm not asking you to buy the Morgan report. All I'm saying is read the prospectus for yourself.